So it's April, the sun's shining again after a few flurries of snow, and I'm taking a look around my place of work. I do feel incredibly lucky to be working here. I've not been feeling that well, so I had a day off, but it was a miserable day weather-wise, so I wasn't too upset about that. And now I'm just very fortunate to work here. And it's really important, I think, that I make it very clear that I wasn't born to this. I've not inherited this. I don't own this. We've found a way to work on and with the land that I think should be possible for almost anybody if they've got that conviction. So I've spoken before about how hard it can be to photograph goats. They tend to want to come and join in and eat the camera a bit. So I've just come in when they've just had their hay, which tends to distract them a little bit. So this is Pickle. There's a story behind Pickle. She sort of chose me and came to live with us because she wanted to. This is Mabel, who is really the last surviving member of our big goat clan that we had at one point, and in some way descended from Scallywag, though I can't quite tell you how just at the moment. And then in the middle, that would be Cliffie. Cliffie came to us quite recently to see if we can get these two girls pregnant and in milk. We don't really know if he managed to or not. They both had days when they seemed fond of him, but it was very late in the season, so only time will tell. But the only thing is, I've absolutely fallen in love with Cliffie. So although he was meant to be quite temporary, I'm really not sure what's going to happen to Cliffie long term, because he's just an absolute love. I completely adore him. So yeah, there we go. That's Pickle and Cliffie, and that's Mabel. When I was a kid, first of all, I wanted to be a person who retrained, rescued, I suppose, problem horses. And after that I wanted to farm. So it's problem horses, and then after that a farm. I wrote a letter to a lady called Glenda Spooner, she's long dead now, who was the chair at the time of something called the Ponies of Britain Association. I don't know why I chose her, but I did. And I said, when I grow up, I'd like to work with problem horses. I'd like to retrain them and rehabilitate them. Now, at the time, I was too young and innocent to realise that what went on, but Glenda clearly saw my address on the letter, which was something Street, Coventry. She did write back to me, and she basically said, there's no such thing as problem horses, only problem people, which I sort of agree with. And you know what, you'll be jolly lucky to work with any horses at all. Go and work really hard, and maybe if you're very lucky, you'll be able to work for somebody who's got some horses. And Glenda clearly thought I wasn't the right sort of person to work with horses. I kept that letter for years and years and years. I threw it away when I got back from America, and one day when I was in America, I was out riding with Laura, who I worked with. I was riding a Grand Prix dressage horse around a beautiful meadow in South Carolina and getting paid for it. And I stood up in the stirrups and I yelled out to the open spaces, "This one's for you, Glenda." And after that I threw the letter away, because there's no point bearing a grudge. But you know, sometimes farming is still like that. When I look around, it's remarkable that we have tenancy of this tiny bit of land. We're so blessed, so fortunate. It's so important that we make the best go of it, because all around you, you see thousands upon thousands of acres which belong to one large estate, and are even only rented out really to people who have the right name and the right address and the right farming background and the right farming history. And in the middle, there's me, the kid from Coventry, on her 10 rented acres. And do you know what? That's the most important thing in the world to me, is that I got here. Maybe tenanted, I'd love to own it, maybe one day, but I've got this far. I'm 61 years old, I get up every morning and I come out and I farm. And that one's not exactly for you, Glenda, but it's for the farming equivalent of Glenda. And long may it last. Small family farms, small holdings, new entrants, young people, old people, anybody who's not necessarily got the stamp of farmer or landowner on them at birth. Go us. Hi, the sun's shining, it's lovely, and we're actually planting some things. This morning I'm actually planting out Kohl Rabi, which have been grown in cells. They're a bit little, but they do go quite quickly once they get underway, so I'm optimistic about these for early on in the box scheme. And I've uncovered the garlic. We have every pest known to man, and just about everything spends a lot of its life covered up, but I honestly think this garlic now needs quite a bit of weeding. As you can see, there's docks and things, so it's time to uncover it and let it see the light of day. It would take a mightily strong pigeon to pull one of these out now, wouldn't it? Having said that, we'll probably find the rabbits. So just quickly taking a look inside the greenhouse for you. This is my hotbed. There's some gaps, so you can see I've just topped it up with very fresh horse poo, which is what keeps it warm. It had gone right down into the 10s, and as you can see, just this morning, since I've topped that up, it's headed back up to the 20s. It will soon be a lot warmer, and all that's really for in here is for giving some bottom heat and for keeping the heat in at night when the temperatures are. And on the other side here we have got some flowers. Far left there, that is some candy tuft and then some ammi. At the front here, some cucumbers. This is yarrow, very important to biodynamic gardening. And then we've got a few spare tomatoes. I saved those just in little pots when I had some leftovers, and I'm really glad because they've done better than some of the originals. And then I've got the sunflower seeds that are from the Land Workers Alliance last year from the AGM, when we all got given some seeds, some Solidarity sunflowers, so that's what they are. And last but not least, just there is a few more Nigella in that pot. So we're about to plant the winter squash. So that's what I've been making space for. So lots of things have had to go outside and rough it a bit, but that's what's in the greenhouse at the moment. And this is, I do have a stove in my caravan, but it's a bit moody and temperamental. And so when I go for the essential cup of tea down here, we do go with the Kelly kettle. It's actually Neil's, but what's his is mine and what's mine's my own. So we do like this, and it's a real quick way to get a cuppa on the go, and you get that lovely smell of wood smoke without actually having to light a fire or any of the attendant risks. So it's lovely to have the Kelly kettle, and it's a real integral part of being down here and working down here, and that will be boiling in no time and ready for a cuppa. Is it lunchtime? Are you waiting for something? I think sit down and wait nicely. Sit down. On the water bottles, that's lovely. And I'm sure you'll get something. I'm sure I have a treat for you too. I'm sure I do. Oh, so tired. So much of life is less than ideal. I've planted out these kale plants this morning, and they and the other brassicas up here need water. The middle of the day is far, far from the ideal time to water them. I just don't have another time to do it. And they've just been seeded in, so they have just got to have some water. And I do find myself doing lots of things at less than the ideal time. But if they get done, they get. So that's it for this week. We're the middle of April. I've got a tooth to have out at the end of this week, so goodness knows when I'll be back. But look forward to seeing you whenever that is.